When you mention rap, most people might picture the countless rappers who dominated the scene in the 80s and 90s. That era was a golden age for rap, bursting with talented artists popping up from all over, delivering endless surprises to fans. It was during this time that the concept of gangsta rap came to life. And when it comes to gangsta rap, there's one legendary group you can't skip over. NWA, short for Niggas with Attitudes. This crew stood out from the rest. Every single member had the chops to be a leader in the rap game on their own. Naturally, a powerhouse like NWA had a historic role to play. Without that kind of raw strength, these trailblazers couldn't have cut through the resistance and taken rap culture to its peak. I'll dive into this group's story in a dedicated video someday. But since some key figures in those videos are tied closely to NWA, I've got to introduce a couple of big names first: Dr. Dre and the infamous Suge Knight. Dr. Dre was born in Compton, California, under the name Andre Ramel Young. For a lot of NWA fans, Straight Outta Compton might already be looping in their heads. Born in 1965 in the US, Dr. Dre grew up watching the black community go through all kinds of changes. Still, deep, lasting change wasn't easy to come by. Sure, human rights were won on paper, but in real life, those rights were often snatched away or brushed aside. Kids from black families could sit in the same classrooms as kids from white families, but only if they had a piece of bread in their belly to make it through the day. And who knew where the next piece was coming from after school? Dropping out to hustle for a living was the harsh reality for his generation. To get by, stuff like drug dealing wasn't exactly rare in their eyes. Compton was a melting pot of all kinds of folks, and it was there that Dr. Dre's parents split up when he was just 7. Lucky for him, like Tupac and Biggie, he had an amazing mom who stepped up alone, shouldering the family load and stubbornly pushing him to finish school. Here's to wishing all the moms out there good health. Dr. Dre's mother wanted him to land a steady job to provide for the family, but with his incredible musical talent, Dre had his sights set on finding his purpose through a career in music. The future looked bright, but the path was bound to be rough. As a young DJ, Dre kicked off his career after being inspired by some master DJs. He looked up to Julius Erving, the black basketball star nicknamed Dr. J, and took on the stage name Dr. Dre. Thanks to his mom's full support, he could buy tons of records to sharpen his musical know-how and grab gear to practice his DJ skills. The pay from gigs at bars barely kept up with daily expenses, though. Under crushing pressure to make ends meet, Dre sharpened his memory working the bar scene while hunting for ways to turn his skills into cash, which eventually hooked him up with a crew of like-minded friends. In 1984, Dr. Dre teamed up with DJ Yella to join a hip-hop outfit called World Class Wrecking Crew. After dropping 2 albums, they saw the group wasn't going anywhere big and bailed. Then, in 1986, Dre brought DJ Yella along to form NWA with Ice Cube, MC Run, and Eazy-E, a group that left a massive mark on rap. In 1988, NWA's debut album, Straight Outta Compton, hit the streets and blew up. But as the money rolled in, they learned the hard way that they could weather tough times together, but couldn't share the wealth. Eazy-E wasn't just the group's golden investor and lead singer. He was also the go-between with the music company. In the Straight Outta Compton movie, he's portrayed as Jerry, a stand-in for the record label. But building a legit, grown-up business isn't a one-man job. It takes a lot of moving parts. For starters, the group needed protection on the business side. Think of it like a battlefield, plus legal pros, like lawyers. With safeguards in place, both out in the open and behind the scenes, they could tour and perform everywhere without stressing about trouble or sabotage. Eazy-E was a gang member himself, and the only business his crew ran was drug trafficking. Everyone knows the cash he pumped into records came from dealing, but a dealer without gang backup? That's a dangerous gig. Walking the streets could get you shot. Since he pulled together a ton of resources, Eazy had the final word in the group, which directly cut into what the others could pocket. His say was law. You could tell just by looking at a guy like Eazy that he wasn't easy to deal with. The beats you perform were cooked up by Dre, the lyrics came from me, and you're killing it on stage with a fat paycheck. If Eazy didn't like how things were going, he'd step up and call it quits right then and there. Ice Cube's exit cracked the foundation of this tight-knit crew. Good thing Dre stuck around, keeping the company in the black. But once Dr. Dre took on the whole load, he started to see something was off. I'm the one making the beats and writing the words, but I'm not getting paid what I deserve. I'm this good. Why am I still working for him? Enter Suge Knight, a street hustler who'd been eyeing Dr. Dre for a while. Truth is, he'd been drooling over him. NWA's lineup was stacked with talent. Ice Cube went solo, and his records flew off the shelves right away. Even after Cube split, Dr. Dre kept the group humming along. Suge tracked Dre down and pitched a new venture, like starting a fresh record label from scratch. Problem was, Dre signed the contract too fast, missing the traps Ice Cube had sniffed out. Or maybe Dre was just young back then, thinking he was raking it in. As he dug deeper into the details, though, he realized the money was peanuts. Tied down by the contract, he couldn't just walk away. Breaking it would mean major headaches. Never mind taking on the powers backing Eazy-E and Jerry. If Dre couldn't leave clean, Suge's label would tank. This guy had spent years as a security guard, rubbing elbows with the rich in fancy mansions, seeing big shots up close. Ambition burned through him like wildfire. Why do they get to cruise in luxury cars and live in mansions while I'm stuck playing guard? If he missed this shot to cash in with Dr. Dre, who knew how long he'd be waiting? So Suge leaned on his connections, sitting down with Eazy-E and Jerry to talk sense. When a beast like Batista, 6 foot something, over 300 pounds, stands in your face reasoning with you, it's pretty damn reasonable. If it's not, well, your name better be T-800. By then, Dre had sorted out the contract mess, and Suge scored a top-tier music producer for free. But they hit a wall. Cash was tight. Dre's deal blocked him from pulling extra dough from the label. Sure, Suge was tied to a gang, but let's be real. Rich folks don't join gangs, and bouncing checks as a guard doesn't build a nest egg. So even though the company was up and running, keeping it afloat meant pouring in serious money nonstop. Anyone who started a business knows the drill. At the beginning, it's all about pumping in cash. If it pays off, you're golden. If not, you're drowning in debt. Entrepreneurship isn't the cakewalk success books make out to be. The catch is, without funding, you don't even get a shot. After school, Dre went from DJing to forming bands to walking away. Smarter than most, yeah, but he didn't have the startup cash to launch a company. Suge stepped up to the plate. Back then, rap was just taking off, and plenty of broke kids could flip their lives overnight with one hot record, watching the money flood in. That's when Suge zeroed in on Vanilla Ice. His track Ice Ice Baby was the first hip-hop song ever to top the charts. The royalties from a hit like that? Enough to make your eyes water. Fans ripped into him, but Vanilla Ice didn't care. Cash was king, controversy be damned. Suge, the brash thug, wasted no time linking up with him. After a few rounds of talks, they locked in a copyright transfer deal. In the US, some areas are so dirt poor that state governments don't bother sinking resources or effort into keeping order. These spots are rough, crimes everywhere, and gang members step in, running the show. They keep the streets in line and control the underground drug trade. In places like that, the line between gangs and cops blurs. Call the police, and a gang guy might swing back and say, "Just hit me up, save the hassle." The movie Straight Outta Compton drops hints about this. With that fat stack of cash in hand, Dr. Dre and Suge Knight's Death Row Records roared to life like a fueled-up sports car, carving out a lane in the West Coast record market. As their releases piled up, more money had Suge scheming to dodge NWA's downfall, boost his clout in the company, and grow his gang's reach to keep Dr. Dre under his thumb. Suge started packing the label with gang members, crowding out Dre's say. After a few years of grinding, Dr. Dre wasn't the clueless kid anymore. Facing down a heavy hitter like Suge, he wasn't the pushover he used to be. So he started hunting for an out, a way to break free from death row. Let me break it down for you. Suge's enemies included Jerry and Eazy-E, but we'll skip death row's mess for now and talk about our main man, Tupac. In my first video, I mentioned how Tupac's mom landed on a watch list for joining the Black Panther Party back in the day, so cops were always at their door. With police stretched thin, they still made time to practice at Tupac's place, sometimes even tailing him and his mom while they shopped. That's some VIP treatment. Regular gang guys steered clear of Tupac's family. After all, a few names on the world's top 10 most wanted list were tied to them. Next to Tupac's crew, those street punks were small fry. So early on, Tupac didn't mess much with gang life. Time rolled on, and Tupac grew up. He and his family finally got some peace. They'd lived under a dark cloud, thinking it had cleared. But after Tupac dropped an album calling out social issues, he got jumped by cops one day on the street, beat down for walking wrong. That's when he realized the shadow hadn't gone anywhere. It had just shifted from his mom to him. This sharp guy finally got how tough it had been for his mother raising him. That hard yet soft soul poured his deepest feelings into the song Dear Mama. In 1993, in Atlanta, Tupac saw two cops beating a black guy and jumped in to stop it, no hesitation. The cops pulled guns on him, but Tupac flipped into fight mode and sent them running. He caught heat for it, but later they found the cops' guns came from the evidence locker, so it all fizzled out. What's this make you think? Yeah, the Black Panther Party. At their peak, Panthers carried guns to watch the police, making sure they played fair. To some, Tupac's move screamed his politics. This Black Panther prince looked ready to rise again. But things took a wild turn. In a studio, gunmen dressed as security rolled up on him. Shot up, Tupac played dead. But they kept going, emptying their clips and snagging his jewelry. Once they were gone, he bolted to Biggie's studio for help. Biggie and Puff Daddy, mid-recording, froze at the sight. Everyone there gaped at Tupac. One guy even broke down crying and ran over to hug him. That moment stuck with Tupac. In prison, he replayed it endlessly, figuring only someone who gave a damn would cry. The rest, shocked but glad he wasn't dead, had to be behind it. From an outsider's view, I'd say seeing Tupac first sparked shock, crying right after fell off. Emotions don't flip that fast, so it seems the beef with Biggie was already brewing. The day after Tupac got shot, the court dropped its verdict. Imagine if he died, then what had happened? He'd be painted as a rapist killed in gang mess, his rep trashed, his music forgotten. That kind of domino effect isn't something you just shrug off. While locked up, Tupac's new album Dear Mama shot up the charts. Add in the media frenzy. A guy takes 6 bullets, lives, goes to jail, and his sales explode, hitting platinum. He was hotter than a trending hashtag, but big labels didn't bite. Weird scene. Then Suge, Death Row's boss, showed up and Tupac signed on, getting out and joining a label. But that's where the tragedy kicked off. In prison, Tupac found a safety he'd missed. Cops might smack around unarmed black folks, claiming they're gangbangers, but real gangsters don't poke the bear. Tupac was barely in his 20s, prime time for a guy to move. In the movie Notorious, Puff Daddy and Biggie griped about him running with the wrong crowd, but Tupac didn't call those shots. The media piled on, slamming Tupac's ideas and moves. Trapped from all sides, the streets were his only escape. But Suge, his boss, kept stirring the pot. A 1995 rap event, Suge trashed Puff Daddy in front of everyone. Then Snoop Dogg hit the stage, clowning and cursing out the whole East Coast. As Suge's power swelled, Tupac became his weapon, aimed at Suge's rivals. By then, Suge had locked Tupac into his crew. Tupac's enemies were Suge's too. Tupac started sensing something was wrong, venting about betrayal in his lyrics, and hinting in documentaries he was running out of time, worn out from studio grinds, leaving behind stacks of raw vocals. Death loomed close, but life had to keep going. Early bad calls led him to misjudge his foes, and his end was locked in. This growing bullseye choked more and more people, and Suge's enemies finally struck. Tupac got gunned down in September and fingers pointed at Suge. Thing is, Tupac and Suge were side by side, and the bullet's path looked meant to take them both out. In the end, the one who should have died didn't, and the one who shouldn't did. But Suge clearly wasn't the mastermind. After Tupac died in September, Suge got locked up in October. With Tupac gone and Suge behind bars, the Bloods took hits from every angle. Dr. Dre, though, flipped the script, using Suge's public downfall to ditch Death Row and start Aftermath Entertainment. Snoop Dogg saw the writing on the wall, packed up fast, and bounced from Death Row 2. In the Korean flick The Bad Guy, a wounded gang boss leaves his crew shaky, and the underlings turn on each other. Same deal with Suge. After his top star got hit, he landed in jail quick, and death row couldn't dodge its collapse. Suge's gang moves in the company gave him a brief shine, but set up Tupac's death and the label's bad press. Online years later, some punk claimed he killed Tupac, then got smoked in a gang clash. Same old story. I can't be bothered to dig into it. After Tupac passed, his albums and rights were supposed to go to Suge per the post-prison deal. But Tupac's mom, a tough lady, fought for her son's last pieces, sued Suge, and won back his legacy. I'd bet the rap world had her back. Otherwise, a grieving mom couldn't take on a gang heavy like Suge. In 1997, Biggie got shot down. He was the most innocent casualty, a chill family guy, not on anyone's hit list. Losing his best friend crushed Puff Daddy. A soulmate like that, who gets you, is a once-in-a-lifetime find. Reeling, Puff couldn't work for 6 months after Biggie's death, sunk in pain. But staring at their unfinished album, thinking of the unheard tracks, he pulled himself up, finished, and dropped life after death. The song, I'll Be Missing You, took over the world, a rare rap gem. By then, after generations of rappers grinding, the rap market had grown up and gone global. Dr. Dre, fresh off launching Aftermath Entertainment, turned his eye to new talent, dead set on using his clout and resources to build up a singer who'd boost his cred. His instincts were dead on. Out of a sea of artists, he picked Eminem, crafting albums just for him. With Dre's push, Eminem shot up fast, unstoppable, hitting the top of rap and stealing the world spotlight. You can grow sweet-smelling flowers in a barren desert. Back when black slavery ended and segregation ruled, rap didn't exist. It only popped off after black folks won rights. What's that tell you? A better environment shapes the next generation big time. Martin Luther King and others changed their kids' futures by fixing the world around them, proving a good life molds what's next. Take Dr. Dre, a music nut who couldn't afford records or a player once. Now, a West Coast rap kingpin, struggles the thread weaving through rap's whole story. First, NWA pushed back against U.S. police brutality. Then Tupac took on social wrongs and disrespect toward women. Wave after wave of rap artists built on that, turning a genre full of trash talk into a megaphone for ideas and good vibes, growing it into thoughtful rap. Their hustle made the pie bigger, so today's rappers can grab a slice. Now it's all big gold chains, chunky watches, and entourages of beauties. Some say rap's lost its old soul, but it's done its job, turned into a polished product that keeps cashing in. As rap culture grew, artists started dropping deep thoughts. Tupac stood out, ditching the old-school objectification and disrespect of women in rap to lift them up, steering the whole scene into new territory. That's why the rap world crowns him a god. Which rapper doesn't have a mom who busted her ass for him? Thought's the heart of rap, and I hope all you rap fans out there can be thinkers too. Rap went from brainless noise to teaching the world, spreading big ideas, riding a wild emotional wave. So I want rap culture to keep climbing, not tripping over history stumbles, getting better in society and the world. Real love for someone or something means wanting it to keep improving, right? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next episode.